Now it's opening up. Whew.
Yeah.
Breathe. Ask away, right? Whew.
Damn! That one's kicking. All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Ryan.
My name is Ben.
And you're watching Warm Ones. It's a show with warm questions and even warmer wings. And today we're joined by Jay Hurtubise. How are you feeling today, Jay?
I feel great. I'm ready to eat.
Great. Jay Hurtubise is the Assistant Dean of Students, Community Standards, and Outreach and Support at Framingham State University. Jay first stepped foot on campus in 2011 and served in multiple roles in student affairs before joining the Dean of Students office in 2022. He provides guidance and services to students through the lens of student support and advocacy. We're pleased to have you on the show today, Jay.
Thanks for having me here. It's actually an honor. I love hot ones. Warm ones is going to be my new favorite jam, I think. This will be a great time.
First bite. Ready?
Yep. There's nice salt on there too.
These chicken wings were sourced locally by Sodexo, so thank you, Sodexo, for sponsoring our food today. We also have a special sauce made by Sergio, which is our third hottest today. So Jay, we heard that you've always been interested in music. Tell us about what led you to the field of student involvement instead of the big music stage.
Wow. So music, I mean, I grew up loving just listening to all sorts of stuff. Like my parents actually love country music, which is weird, but on Sundays we listen to like top 40, like Casey Kasem and all that. And then that sort of helped me start to branch out and like decide I wanted to listen to something else. And I found like rock, and actually my dad used to listen to that. He used to be a drummer, and like played with a couple of like, you know, big bands locally when he was younger. And so I was like, all right, I want to get into this. Like this really appeals to me, the distortion and everything. And so I decided, oh, I'm gonna be in a garage band. I got a bass and started learning how to play bass. I was just, you know, playing with my friends. You know, we were playing in a local band that I was in for a while. Then I moved to a couple other ones when we had like, you know, falling outs as everybody does at those bands. And it was just fun. Like it was great to just like play shows at like boys and girls clubs and people's basements and stuff. Like that was really cool. But at some point you realize those songs you're creating aren't like happening, or you don't have industry connections or whatever. So, you know, you just keep going. Like other things happen in your life. You start focusing on, well, I'm going to go to college. You start focusing on what am I going to do in college, and not so much on the how am I going to get further in a music career. So,
Yeah.
When I went to college, I had an RA, and then unbeknownst to me, I'm like, oh, this is like something you could like do to help you like actually pay your bill and everything. So I got interested in that, and then I actually really loved just the idea of helping people. And so when I became an RA, I really loved that part of it. Loved the connections I made with people. And then when you're an RA, you realize there's somebody supervising you. Right? And so the connections I made with those people were really great. I was really appreciative that I had those mentors. And so I just became a little bit more involved and more involved. When my junior and senior year, I was actually, I served on a judicial board as a student member, where we like made decisions on really high level cases. So like whether somebody's going to be suspended or expelled and stuff like that. So that gave me sort of my first experience of working in conduct and things. And then I loved residence life, and so I decided, how can I do this? And then I decided to go to grad school and was an RD as I did that, and then had my opportunity to keep going in the career.
Do you have a favorite venue you've performed at or been to a show at?
Ooh, okay. Been to a show at? Been to a show at. My favorite venue is probably the one that I just went to, which is an unnamed backyard.
Okay.
Okay.
I saw Matt Pryor, who's the singer and rhythm guitarist for the Get Up Kids in the New Amsterdams. He was performing, he just wrote a book, and as part of it, he's actually performing in people's backyards.
Okay.
So I went to a show in North Providence, there was like me and 20 other people sitting around a campfire in someone's backyard, and he was just performing solo, which is so cool to have that like intimate vibe. Places I performed at, I think my favorite, it would probably be the Boys and Girls Club in Oakland Beach in Warwick, Rhode Island, because we played a show with my first band, Too Far Ahead. Shout out to Adam and George and Ant for being in that band with me. But we played the show, and it was just like this monster thing that somebody got, like literally like some energy drink like sponsored the show. And I'm telling you this long story because I love the moment of it. I had it planned. I had written this song. I did like the lyrics for the song called Enough of You that we had. And so my girlfriend at the time, I was like, you know, as a kid, I'm writing it about her. And I made it so there's a bass solo in the song. And so during the solo, and we have like chords and everything attached. Like this isn't like wireless tech. So like, I'm like, as I'm like getting ready into doing that, there's no barrier between you and the people standing in the gym. It's just the microphone stands, right? So I actually walked out in front of it because she was sitting like somewhere in the middle over to the side. I literally just like walked out into the crowd like as I'm playing the bass solo, and people are like partying like the sea for it. And I just walk out and I start kissing her while I'm playing the bass line.
Incredible.
And it was like, it felt like the coolest moment. Like when you're a teenager, you're like, I'm the king, you know?
It's like a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, like it gets like the huge cheer, you know, and then you go back. So like, I love that venue because it was like, everyone was right there. Like you can't hide. Like if you're good or you're bad, like people are just gonna, you know, enjoy the show, but like there's literally nothing to hide. You gotta be out there, you gotta perform, and if you're bringing the energy to it, like they're right in front of you. So if they're excited, that's a good thing.
Yeah. You ready? Yeah, it's very sweet.
I love sweet.
You know, they normally take one bite on the show. We're devouring these wings.
It's lunchtime.
Exactly. We haven't had anything to eat today.
We were talking about metaphorical music stages earlier, but I understand that the stage of Dwight Hall, also known as DPAC, has a special meaning to you. Why is that?
Yeah, DPAC does have a really special meaning for me. My girlfriend and I, when I first started working here, we weren't together. I actually met her online while I was moving to Framingham. And so we had a really strong connection. She decided she would come visit. So she came to visit me in like October of 2011. And I decided this is the one for me. This is the woman I want to marry. So I set it into motion and like got the ring like, you know, in like November of 2013 and started planning out how can I do this, how do I want to do it. And at the time, two of the staff members that I worked with that I supervised, they were putting on shows, these like musical shows, variety shows in DPAC all the time. And so I was like, I wonder if I could get onto one of those and find a way to do it. So I worked with them, and they were really great about it. And they tried to like keep it secret from each other at first, and like so then they were like, we're gonna put Jay at the end, and they were like, well, that's not fair. Don't put him at the end. And so we had to like slowly share the secret with people over time. I convinced Jenna, my wife, to come to the show and like, you know, just sit in the audience and like I'm playing, and then we'll hang out for the weekend. Right before that was gonna happen, she ended up calling me and being like, I'm not really feeling well, I might just skip the weekend. And I'm like, please try, please try to come.
This is gonna be really good, I swear.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, yo, I really miss you, like this would be great, like really play that up. She was like, okay, I definitely want to, so I'm gonna try. And so she made it up, she ended up feeling better, doing the whole show, enjoying it, and then we did the last number, we were playing the song by Green Day, the one that says Time of Your Life. I know it's called something else.
Okay.
But we played that for the seniors that were outgoing, and then I ran, like from the middle of the pit, like out to the back. And I remember because the microphone actually picked it up, and it was like, I was like, all right, guys, see you later. And it was like set it over the DPAC PA system. And so I run to the back, get ready for it, and I actually end up going out on stage at the end. And I played a song by the old 97s called Question, which is about someone proposing to somebody else. So funny enough, as soon as she sits down with Sharif, my buddy, to like watch the show, she goes, just joking. She's like, what if Jay like proposes? And he's like, just watch the show. And then she tells me this all the time, where she's like, I remember like listening to the song and being like, why is he singing this song? This is a weird song for him to choose. And then once I invited her on stage, like she needed that like kick and be like, this is you, like let's go. And what I added a verse at the end where I went in the same rhythm of the song. I invited her to come up on stage, and so she came onto the stage, and I finished it with, I have a question for you, and then on me, and we got engaged right there.
Well, congratulations.
Wow.
Ben, what kind of notes are you detecting in this one? I'm turning the tables.
Chicken was very chewy on this one. I'm liking it. I think it's a gradual build up.
It's sneaky.
Yeah. Sergio knows what he's doing.
I think it starts so like very saucy, like tomatoey.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's it, like Thai pepper in there, right?
He did say Thai. The more I've had it, the more I like it. Tell us about your tattoos. What was your most recent addition, and if you had to rank your tattoos in order, what would be the ranking?
Oh wow, that was a nice twist. If I had to rank them, oh man. Okay, so my most recent tattoo are the ones on my forearms, and they go together. So I'll play to you, camera 3, right? So they go together, and if you can't read the lines there, it says, "It's hard to be the better man when you're still lying." So it's the sun on one elbow casting a shadow onto an angel, that the shadow is like a demon. And so I wanted to play off the idea of like the inner struggle of like, you know, the better angel and the demon on your shoulder. Because that line of "it's hard to be a better man when you're still lying" is from one of my favorite bands growing up, Brand New, right? And when I was listening to that, you know, college is a very formative time of your life, right? And that was just like hitting me about like, or resonating with me about like things I needed to change, the way I was approaching things in my life. And like, it was funny, is like, I heard that message when I was in college, and then it didn't really hit me until later, like a little later, about what I needed to change, how I needed to be more honest with people in my life, more honest with myself. And really, my dad had also, when I was growing up, really instilled like this idea of like always be the best man you can be, always, you know, try to do the right thing, be ethical and all that. And so that was the thing, that was just like, hey, you're not doing that, and you gotta be better. And so I wanted to really commit to that. Prior to that, I had my collarbone done as well, and that one says, "Chop wood, carry water," which is an allusion to like a Zen proverb that says, "Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water." Right, so it's another lesson in humility, right? Of like staying focused on something, that keep doing the hard work that's going to get you to where you want to be going. If you just put in the hard work, you get somewhere and you've achieved it. And if you slack and you don't continue to do that, you're going to lose that. But at the same time, it also means about what you're doing for other people. Like if you get to that point, why stop chopping wood and carrying water? Start chopping wood for other people, start carrying water to other people. On my wrists, I have 2 on my wrists. I have one that's actually the Triforce from Zelda. It has my name in Hylian in it.
Garrett, our producer, loves Zelda.
Shout out, Garrett.
Shout out to Garrett.
And then my other wrist actually has the 4 elements for earth, fire, wind, and water from The Fifth Element, the Luc Besson film with Mila Jovovich. In that, she actually has this tattoo on that wrist. So that one's a bit of an ego boost for me, of just like, oh yes, you have the power, you have the ability, right? But I also love this concept of the balance between them. It's called quintessence, right? It creates this 5th element of harmony, right? And I really love that idea of like, it reminds me to like keep things simple, right? Of like, just break it down to the basic pieces. Don't overthink things, because I can't do that. So that one was that was what about. Plus, it's a kick-ass movie. It's great. And then I also have on my back, I have a cross with wings, which it just goes back to my history and my upbringing. It was the first tattoo I got, and it was just like sort of being like respectful of how I was raised and the things that I wanted to aspire to. Yeah, so if I had to rank them, I got to go with the forearms, number 1, the collarbone, number 2. I'm gonna go with the Triforce, number 3, because that's another one that was like, don't be afraid to like show a side of you that maybe you were ashamed of before. And then I'll go 4 on the Fifth Element, and then 5 on the Book.
As a dad yourself now, do you find you reflecting your dad's like lessons growing up, or do you put a new spin on it as you found yourself later in life?
Yeah, that's good. Excuse me. I think I would say that there are a lot of things that I wanted to make sure I still instilled in my son.
Mm-hmm.
So like you find yourself wondering, like, how did they do that? Like, how did they get that in there?
Yeah.
Like, how did they get this result?
Yeah.
He's too young for me to really try to instill a lot of stuff. Right now, it's a lot of the gentle parenting stuff where we're just like, it's okay to make a mistake, which would be, that's a twist that I would put on. So we're just trying to emphasize, like, things happen. Like, we can make a mistake. Just because something is bad, it doesn't mean that you're bad. It doesn't mean that, this has to happen forever. Like, we're going to learn from it, and it's going to take time for us to do that, So we do a lot of that, like gentle parenting. I think my wife and I are both committed to keeping some of those themes that we got from our parents, but I would definitely agree that it's a different spin. I think everyone will find that parenting is one of those things where, like, you might have a thought about how you're going to do it or how something should be before you have a kid, and then you have a kid and you start to see some of the parallels because there are challenges that you have never experienced in your life, right? And that you start to empathize, I think, up, not just across.
Okay. Are we ready for the last dab?
I guess so. Here we go.
So, as they do on the show, it's very customary to dab a little bit more than you might normally on the chicken wing. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Oh,
Are you going to take the challenge
yet?
yet?
Of course. Back down today.
We haven't had any drink yet. I think this might be the time where we do. Okay. Here you go.
All right. It's so much thicker than
Yeah,
so
right.
It really is, yeah.
There we go.
But it's like it's almost like it's teasing you because then you tap it a little bit and then it just pours out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I remember I had a really hot sauce one time that was like, it was so almost like coagulated at the top, it almost came out of like a clump. And you were like,
Yeah.
oh, this is too bad.
Okay. Let's go. Cheers.
Cheers. Mm-hmm. Now it's opening up. Woo!
Yeah.
Breathe.
You're holding in there.
Ben loves a wing.
Mm-hmm.
That'll get your nose running. All right. Ask away, right? Whew.
Damn! That one's kicking. All right. I got it. Going for the milk here.
Woo!
Oh my god, it's sealed.
Ben, you want to step in for Ryan?
Sure. All right. Martial arts are clearly a big passion of your life outside of campus. As we learned last week when you attempted to teach us jiu-jitsu in your office, what brought you to this passion and what do you love about it?
Whew. All right. It is hard to remember every piece of the question. Okay, what brought me to it? I've always loved sports and been like athletic. I've always wanted to be like running and doing things and want to be the fastest and like all that. Oh man, your tongue just goes on fire.
Oh my God. Don't be ashamed to grab some milk.
I know, I'm going to try and answer the question. So, I was always athletic. Growing up, wanted to be doing that and involved. And so when I was in college, I was like, oh, you know, boxing is pretty cool and everything. And, like, fight sports like that. And the UFC started to really gain ground. Like, it started in the 90s, but those early 2000s, it sort of like started to build. And it was on like Spike TV. And the college I went to, Bryant, actually had a Spike TV channel. And so I started to watch that in like 2007 or so. And I was like, oh man, this is cool. And then I saw somebody triangle someone. And so instead of just like knocking them out, they used a submission and choked them unconscious. And I was like, oh my God, that was like mind blowing. I was like, that guy was on his back. Like, how did he do that? I was in Rhode Island, so I was lucky to find a place called Timber Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in North Providence. I was on Mineral Spring Avenue at the time. I ended up training a lot of no-gi there. I took classes with this guy Pete, Damon, a couple other guys. I remember this like guy who was all tatted up, Jimmy, who had like all these tattoos, and I was like, all right, I'm in the right place. I got the big tattoo guy, and it was just like mind open, like, you know, completely opens your mind when you're there and you're like getting like completely smashed at first, and it just like changes your perspective on like what you're able to do. But I mean, what draws me to it too is like there's the mental side of it, right? It's like jiu-jitsu humbles you, right? A lot of martial arts require that level of humility. That's why they have systems where you respect like a sensei or a leader like that. And jiu-jitsu is less about that. Traditional jiu-jitsu has that more. It's more so about the respect you're showing your training partner, right? And the people that any given day, one of you could submit the other one, right? And you're just like, wow, you got me in a position where I had to say, I'm done, or I have to get out of this. So it's like so many parallels. You're talking about things you take, right? And it's like there's things I can infuse into my parenting that come from jiu-jitsu. Things I can infuse into my work that come from jiu-jitsu, right? And just like the work ethic that you have and your willingness to know, like, if this failed, I have to just learn from that. Every moment in jiu-jitsu is a learning moment. There's no like, oh, I tapped or I got submitted, so I lost something. Like, yeah, maybe you lost the competition, but like that wasn't a wasted moment. Like, you're gonna gain something out of that every single time. What was the rest of your question? Because I'm going like off the rail.
I forgot what I asked. What brought you to this passion, and what do you love about it?
Oh yeah, okay. What do I love about it? I mean, one, it's just human chess, man. It's just so physical. It keeps me like alive and like going athletically. But it's just, there's an incredible community around it too. It's such great community. It's supportive. The people that you find that you train with, you know that you're doing something unique, right? That a very low percentage of the population is doing, but you know this is the right thing for you. So I love that about it.
I know humility is a big part of practicing jiu-jitsu, but do you think there's anyone on campus that could get you to tap?
Oh wow!
And who?
That's a really tough question. Can I eat my secret wing?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes!
I'm gonna go back to the buffalo. Right. I want to see if I can still taste it. Oh man, is there anybody that could get me to tap? I haven't met anybody else on campus that does jiu-jitsu a lot. I would love to meet them. If you're out there, let me know. Right? But I don't know, especially right now with not a lot of people here. I don't know that anybody would make me tap in a competition in jiu-jitsu. But again, I'm not going to be so arrogant to say that no one could.
All right.
You never know.
It's a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Jay, you handled that really well.
Oh, thank you.
I was suffering. I chugged my entire milk. But it helped, and you didn't even take any drink. Right? You just had napkins. How are you feeling?
Feeling good.
You guys are champions.
Coasting down.
Guys, let's give it up for Jay. Our first guest of the show. You killed it. Jay, in the last 30 seconds of warm ones, is there anything you want to say to the camera where you're headed after this, anything you're up to, anything that's coming up in your life, last words you want to leave us with today?
All right, I think I would just say that if you don't know what the Dean of Students office is, pop up, say hello. We're on the 5th floor of the McCarthy Center. We'd love to see any student, right? If you're a commuter student, resident student, commuter student especially, because we help with the programming for you guys, come see us. We can help you with any concern or questions you have. Our job is literally to manage student issues. We have an awesome team in our office. and we would love to see you. We do lots of things with student support and advocacy and community standards in my realm. And the other thing I would say is basic needs and security is on the rise across the nation, and Massachusetts is no different. You're going to continue to see issues that create inequity amongst people, not just in the state, but people here at our university, right? We're a microcosm of the world, and so we see all those same things. See what you can do to lend a hand, right? If you want to volunteer at the Rams Resource Center, do that. You can add to our donation bins that you see around campus. Do that. If you want to come to our Dean of Students office and talk to us about if you need some assistance with something, do that, right? We're here to help, and it just feels good to help.
Great words of wisdom to leave us with today. Thank you once again, Jay.
Thank you, guys.